Hey everybody, welcome back to C.Dat.Guy Review Movies. My name is Christian, and though we aren't reviewing a movie today, I wanted to make a special type of video. The Oscars are happening this Sunday, and this is the first time I've actually seen over half of the Best Picture nominees. And that either means I'm expanding my movie taste, or the Oscars are finally recognizing movies that people actually watch. Perhaps it's both. However, this is not an Oscar prediction video. This is actually my top 10 movies of 2019. I was able to watch roughly 40 movies from 2019, which is a new personal record for me, and a majority of it is thanks to AMC A-List. And I know this video is coming out late compared to a lot of movie review channels, but I spent January playing catch up, and I really want to take the time to narrow it down to my final 10. And so, here's the list, but before we get into that, let's get into my honorable mentions. There's no particular order for the next following films, but I just want to let you know that I like them in their own aspects, but it just wasn't good enough to break into my top 10. Booksmart was one of the funniest movies of 2019, and I gotta give Olivia Wilde props to her directing debut, and this is actually the first time I ever heard of Beanie Feldstein and Caitlin Dever. And these ladies made good, compelling leads, surrounded by an interesting and diverse cast of supporting characters. Sure, it's compared to Superbad, but with girls, but the story is refreshing and it's surprisingly relevant and updated to, I guess, what teens today will have to deal with. And so, in that aspect, it finds its own voice. And if you didn't get to watch it, it's actually on Hulu. Rocketman continues the trend of music biopics, and though I've been a fan of Taron Egerton since the first Kingsman movie, I wasn't sure if he was the right choice to portray Elton John, but I'm glad he proved me wrong because he did a great job portraying him, and I was actually surprised that he could sing. And though it followed the common biopic story formula of the rise, the fall, and the rise again of the character, I appreciated that they put their own spin on it so it became more of like a fantasy musical. And with that change, I gotta say, the acting, the music, and the visuals were on point. Uncut Gems is one of the two movies I chose to watch as a double feature on Christmas, and while I don't regret watching it, it is not the ideal Christmas movie in the slightest. However, I gotta say, I haven't seen Adam Sandler act this amazing since, I want to say, probably Click. The story was so intense and just spiraled out of control as it went on, and when watching the movie, I was kind of asking myself, how could this get worse? And then it does. And even though I saw the ending coming, I still had to say this is one of the craziest movies that I saw, and kind of made me wonder, does this happen in real life? If you like a cat and mouse kind of movie, then I'd recommend watching Ready or Not. This little horror thriller movie takes hide and seek to the extreme as the bride, played by Samara Weaving, must play a game as an initiation to the family she is joining. And the amount of tension on screen is equal to the amount of dark comedy as the family is hunting her for the night. It gets playfully gruesome at some points, but the ending is bizarre yet satisfying. Always Be My Maybe is this nice little movie available on Netflix. I was a huge fan of Crazy Rich Asians from 2018, so it was nice having another Asian-led rom-com with Randall Park and Ali Wong. I thought their chemistry was great because they were just so funny and sweet in so many scenes. I definitely related to some moments because of my background and my upbringing, but I had to say that Keanu Reeves steals this movie. I believe that every single scene he was in was just icing on the cake. And just to mention another little movie streaming on Hulu is Little Monsters. Don't get me wrong, Lupita Nyong'o definitely had a bigger hit with Us and had a phenomenal performance there. But I was able to watch this rom-com on Halloween, and I think she did a fantastic performance, singing and leading her kindergarten class through the zombie apocalypse. The story is simple, yet charming, and Josh Gad pulls a vulgar, over-the-top comedic performance there too. Alright, so they're all my honorable mentions, so now let's get into my top 10. Starting off the list at number 10 is A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. After watching the excellent Mr. Rogers documentary, Won't You Be My Neighbor in 2018, I was really happy and surprised to know that they were making another movie about him so soon. I watched a lot of Mr. Rogers as a kid, and It was a perfect casting to see such a beloved actor like Tom Hanks to portray such a likable icon. We see the story through the eyes of a pessimistic reporter looking to find some dirt on Mr. Rogers, and while I like the documentary a little bit better, the story and the characters capture the essence of what is it like to meet one special person that can change your entire outlook on life for the better. At number 9 is Jojo Rabbit. I became curious about this project when I heard that Taika Waititi was making a movie about a kid who has Adolf Hitler as his imaginary friend. I knew this would be a weird premise, but I also knew that his particular style of filmmaking and comedy would make it interesting, and despite the movie being dark in some areas, it still finds its way to be light and funny. Oh, and be on the lookout for this kid, Roman Griffin Davis. He hasn't even hit puberty yet, but he did a great job as the lead. I can see his star rising and him going very far, as long as he doesn't fall to the child star curse. The acting ensemble was altogether heartwarming, especially Yorkie. I think he steals some of the scenes. And this movie has 6 Oscar nominations, so if you haven't seen it yet, I say it's worth a watch. At number 8 is Spider-Man Far From Home. This is one of 2 movies that I watched twice in theaters, and I had such a blast watching both times. It was fun seeing them explore Europe, and the cast did a pretty good job at keeping me laughing throughout the movie. Tom Holland continues with his boyish charm as Peter Parker / Spider-Man, while Jake Gyllenhaal gives this great charismatic performance as Mysterio. The visuals were great, and I loved everything that they revealed at the end. The crazy cliffhanger alone makes you excited to see what's next in store for this franchise. At number 7 is How to Train Your Dragon: The Hidden World. I love this trilogy, and I don't think it gets enough recognition. It did take a while for this third one to come out, but I thought it was a solid conclusion. It was like watching an updated Pokemon episode of Bye Bye Butterfree with more color, more romance, and awesome animation. Toothless is always fierce but adorable, and the Light Fury, which we thought was just a shiny Toothless, was a great addition to the dragons. It's one of the few animated franchises outside of Disney and Pixar to be consistently great and have a lot of heart, so give this franchise a try if you haven't yet. At number 6 is Knives Out. Besides The Last Jedi, I haven't seen any of Rian Johnson's other films, but when I heard that this was a whodunit mystery movie with Daniel Craig having this over-the-top southern accent, I was on board. This movie probably had my favorite acting ensemble of the year because you had the talents of Chris Evans, Toni Collette, Christopher Plummer, Michael Shannon, and Jamie Lee Curtis. And though I've seen this actress in a few other movies before, Ana de Armas was a real standout and was able to hold her own against all these other actors. When the answer to the mystery was actually shown pretty early in the film, I was wondering how the story was going to keep my interest. And I have to say that Rian Johnson got really clever because the way it turns and twists just made it oh so entertaining until the very end. At number 5 is John Wick Chapter 3, Parabellum. Keanu Reeves has become so beloved over the last few years, and one of the main reasons is because of this franchise. The stakes keep getting higher, and the action keeps getting crazier and better. Each action set piece is beautiful to watch in its own right because the choreography is so on point. You can really see it in the opening fight scene with the knives or in the final shootout in the Continental. But I think the best action scene is Keanu Reeves teaming up with Halle Berry and her 2 dogs against everyone. Seriously, just go on YouTube and type in Morocco shootout scene John Wick 3. You won't be disappointed. The story does get a little screwy at some points, but this movie is just so fun to see why everyone's either scared or respectful of John Wick. And if this 4th one next summer is the last one, then I can't wait to see how it all ends. At number 4 is Joker. At the moment, it seems that the whole world prefers Marvel to DC, at least in terms of movies, but I always give DC a chance. And even though this isn't a part of the Worlds of DC franchise, having Joaquin Phoenix portray the most iconic supervillain of all time was intriguing. I appreciated his unique portrayal of the character and the way the story breaks away from the traditional comic book genre in order to be its own thing. Was it worthy of 11 Oscar nominations? Probably not, but I think it's got a good shot at least 3 of them. The bathroom dancing scene alone is haunting and beautifully memorable in its own right for combining the acting, the cinematography, and the score so perfectly. At number 3 is Avengers Endgame. 11 years worth of following the Marvel Cinematic Universe has led to this. The only real issue I had was the explanation of the time travel, but other than that, I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. It had so many fun and heartfelt moments, and excellent fan service to everyone who's paid attention to every single detail. I appreciated the fact that the movie started off slow so that we could truly feel the heaviness from Thanos' decimation from Infinity War, but it was paced so wonderfully so that the movie was exhilarating right to the final shot. I don't know if the MCU can ever pull this off again, but I think we all should just be glad that we were part of this awesome moment. At number 2 is Toy Story 4. I know. Putting this movie this high on the list is probably controversial to a lot of you, and for the record, when this was initially announced, I was against it because I thought the original trilogy was so perfect. But overall, this surprised me. I like the addition of the new cast like Key and Peele as Ducky and Bunny, Keanu Reeves, man, this was really his year, huh? As Duke Kaboom, and Tony Hale as Forky. Forky and the revamped Bo Peep were surprisingly deep characters too, because they were able to challenge Woody on like what it meant to be wanted or kept or free or lost. The animation definitely improved from Toy Story 3, and the love story between Woody and Bo Peep was so sweet that it managed to get me emotional once again, so darn you Pixar. And finally, at number 1 is, drumroll please, Parasite. If you want to see my full thoughts on this movie, go ahead and look through my channel for that review. But in short, though I've never seen a Bong Joon-ho movie before, I was blown away. This comedic thriller was expertly crafted thanks to a complex story that was easy to understand, and an amazing cast with which half of them was in a way portraying 2 different characters. There was drama, there was suspense, there was a touch of horror, and there was constant comedy to lighten up the mood. And the fact that I could feel all these things all while reading subtitles should tell you how effective this movie is. A foreign language or culture shouldn't be a barrier. It's been nominated for 6 Oscars. I can see it probably winning Best Foreign Language Film and possibly Best Original Screenplay, but if it can get Best Film, I'd be really happy. And once again, I urge you to see it if you haven't yet. I really don't think you'll be disappointed. So, here's my top 10 of 2019. I think it was a step up from last year, and it was a very strong way to end the decade, and I just hope that 2020 can live up to it. And though it's probably too early to tell at the moment, I do hope that we get a good variety of films, not just for this year, but for the next decade. So, do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know in the comment section down below. And go ahead and give this video a thumbs up or a thumbs down, I really don't care. But if you want to see more movie reviews from this guy, go ahead and click the subscribe button. Other than that, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!